Yo, what is up, guys? We're back with part 2 of What If Naruto was Shinji Hirako'S reincarnation. And without further ado, guys, sorry about not recording for a while. I had to heal my voice because for some reason my voice still sounds the same as in every video. Now, as other says, I should pretty much change my video where I'm actually more confident. So, I try to spend, this day or the last few days basically trying to improve my confidence so I can actually reflect that in my videos. But without further ado, guys, let's get straight into the what if. Now, we actually resume this what if after Shinji Hiraku, after Naruto, returns the scroll of sealing and finally becomes a ninja. Now, if you guys are wondering why he failed in the first place, it's because he simply tried to fail. If he wanted to pass, he could easily pass that exam. But he doesn't have any Ryatsu, so he doesn't have any chakra, so he couldn't really pass. I guess it's kind of set up for him to fail. Basically, Naruto would wake up the next day and get on the drip like a suit and a tie, similar to what Shinji pulls on. Like his captain suit. He has a tie, and then he has the captain Taiori, and pretty much he would pull on Shinji's outfit. Now, he wouldn't really have the weird haircut that Shinji has, but hey, if Shinji rocks that, it's his business, alright? Now, Naruto would pretty much put his sword in his sheath and walk out of his house or his apartment. He would then lock the door and he would walk towards the ramen stand so he can get his morning ramen, since he eats ramen 24/7, 365 pretty much 365 days a year. He doesn't miss ramen. Unless, if he even misses one day of ramen, bro, he's going on that Nine Tails rampage mode. Alright, guys. Let's not actually, slow down this what if. Now, Naruto would then walk towards the academy before pretty much walking in. Now, Naruto would sit down, usually, where he usually sits by, and it would be by his friends, Shikamaru and Choji. Now, they'd be talking, they'd be chilling, until they see the class would start, and the two worst fangirls in the whole series would try to sit by Sasuke, but Sasuke would just do what he did in any other day and pretty much blatantly shut them down because he is the side character with the cold personality. Now, after this, Iruka would come inside and basically use that weird jutsu where he makes his head look pretty big, like Diane's from Seven Deadly Sins, and pretty much that jutsu apparently raises his volume as well, his voice volume, and he started to scream to everyone to basically shut up or be quiet. The class is starting. Now, Naruto would be confused at Iruka's weird jutsu, but he would pretty much just listen to Iruka basically saying about the team placements for the ninja. I guess the ninja career. Yeah. Now, basically, Iruka would say that Team 7 is Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. It would be Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. Now, Team 8 would consist of Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inazuka, and Shino Aburame. Now, and their sensei would be Kirada Yuhi. Now, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. The next team would be, Team 3, which we get, it's already assembled. It's basically Guy's team. Then Team 10 would be Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akamichi, and Yamanaka. And their sensei would be Asuma Saratobi. Now, basically, with all the teams assembled, and with all the characters' usual reactions to be on their teams, the Asuma, the two senseis, Asuma and Kurenai, would pick up their teams around 5 minutes after Iruka left the classroom, and then Team 7 would unfortunately have to wait around 4 hours or 3 hours for their sensei to come along. Now, in this timeline, Naruto would actually pull a prank, so after around 2 to 3 hours, Kakashi would walk into the class, and this time the eraser wouldn't fall on his head. Now, Kakashi would say that you're boring, and he would say, "Meet me by the roof, and in around 30 seconds, or you'll be, this team won't be formed." You're like, kind of doing some Aizawa type beat, since, yeah. Now, Naruto would just flash up to the top of the roof hall. Sasuke and Sakura would put chakra to their feet and try to run really fast. Now, they would pretty much make it to the top of the roof, like with Sasuke and Sakura panting, and Naruto would just be chilling there in the background on these stairs, like sitting by these stairs. Now, they would then sit down, like Sasuke and Sakura would sit down, and Kakashi would would basically tell them to introduce themselves. Now, Sasuke and Sakura would pretty much, be confused, would ask for an example. Now, Kakashi would basically say, just like name, likes, dislikes, and a goal. Sakura would say that her name's Sakura Haruno, her likes, just doing what she did in the canon verse, since I really do not want to repeat what she did, what she said in the canon verse, since she didn't really say much. Now, after this, Sasuke would pretty much say, "My name's Sasuke Uchiha. I don't really have much dislikes. I mean, I don't have much likes, but I have a lot of dislikes. And my goal, it's not a goal. I'll make it a reality. And I will kill a certain someone. A certain Rogex." Nah, just kidding. But basically, that would be the end of Sasuke's introduction. The next introduction would be Naruto, where he'd say, "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are training and eating ramen, and my dislikes are waiting for the 3 minutes to, eat the ramen." Since, just because Naruto is Shinji Hirako'S reincarnation doesn't mean he doesn't like ramen. Um, but basically, Naruto say his goal is to become the best swordsman in the world, or like the strongest. Now, after this, Kakashi would think, these are pretty reasonable goals. And, yeah. Except Sakura. I mean, yeah. They would pretty much, Kakashi would explain to them that their next mission, or their first type of mission, would be a test mission, or a type of test. Now, he would tell them to meet him tomorrow at training ground 7, and he tells them not to be late. And yeah, and he says you should not eat. And then he would pretty much, body flicker away after asking if anyone had questions. Since they didn't really have questions, he would pretty much head out of there, and Team 7 would head to their expected areas, with Naruto heading to the training ground, and Sasuke heading to his house so he can train in the background, just like he's been doing for the last 3 years since his clan has been killed, even though his clan was killed like in 27, and I said 3. Just don't mind me. Now Sakura would go to her house and pretty much go read up on some books. So she's kind of like a book genius, but she really needs to start reflecting that in her training. And don't worry, they'll Sakura and Sasuke will be actually getting way stronger than the usual canon. They won't be stronger than Naruto, but they won't be weaker. Like they won't be the weak. So like yeah. Now Naruto would head over to the training ground, and he'd get into a meditating pose where he will start getting the memories of Shinji Hiraku and his Kido training and his swordsmanship training. Now he'd pretty much start to reflect this, like he would close his eyes and see a weird, Shinji do some incantations before doing a weird technique, where blue fire comes out of his hand. Now, if you guys don't know this technique, it is Hado number 33, Sokatsui. Now, Naruto would put his hands up and try to do it. He would say Hado number 33, Sokatsui. Now, he would feel Ryatsu come out of his hand, and it'd be, it would feel pretty hot before he would release it into a big, kind of like a Kamehameha, but out of his hand. Now, after this, the whole force would get released into flames, and Naruto would just pretty much undo the damage. Pretty much, since he done the damage in the first place, he can definitely reverse it. Not like take back. Not like Orihime's powers, or she can basically reject events. But he means like he can take out the fire that he started. So after this, he spent the rest of the day basically training with his Zanpakuto and just learning Kido techniques. Now, Naruto would, be training kind of hard, that he would wake up he would pretty much, fall asleep in the forest or in the training ground he was training at. Naruto would wake up the next day around, 3 a.m. I know that's pretty much, early for the next day, but Now he would get up, since you can't really sleep outside, you would not like sleep the whole night. You would pretty much like wake up in the middle of the night. Um, Naruto would then look at the sky and pretty much guess the time before going to his own house, and sleeping until around 7 a.m. Now, after Naruto would sleep, he would pretty much get up and make some breakfast before eating some breakfast and making breakfast for his other two teammates and putting them into bentos. Now, Naruto would wait after like maybe 2 hours before heading over to the training ground. Now, he would then give the Sasuke and Sakura the two bentos, and he'd pretty much start talking with them, basically telling them that they need to come up with a strategy for whatever it's gonna come up. Now, after some convincing to Sasuke and Sakura, and he would convince them to try and work together with him, they would come up with a plan. Now, let's say if Kakashi comes up with a 3v1 type exercise, then they already have a plan. If not, then we can try to come up with a plan during the exercise. Now, Kakashi would then come into the clearing around 1 hour after they came up with a plan, and he'd pretty much start explaining them about what they're gonna do today. He pretty much says that they're gonna do the bell test, and that's Sasuke would say, why do you have two bells if there's three of us? Damn, throat. Sorry about that. But basically, Kakashi would say that only one of you is gonna be thrown back to the academy, and only two of you will be part of Team 7. Now, Sasuke and Sakura would pretend to be shocked, and Naruto would pretty much just look normal. Now after this, Kakashi would then say start, but he was expecting them to just run away, and Naruto would only be there. But for some reason, Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto were there. And Naruto would pretty much say, throw up a hand sign, like the go sign. And Sasuke would then use a fire-style fireball jutsu. Now Sakura would go through some hand signs, basically throwing a few shuriken, doing the shuriken shadow clone jutsu. Kind of making like a fire-style phoenix flower jutsu and a fireball jutsu. Now, this would be kind of like sent towards Kakashi, and Naruto would be behind Kakashi, and he would pretty much do a Bakudo 81 Danku, since Kakashi's only escape is to go behind, and if there's a weird shield behind him, he can't really go behind, so he has to go to the sides. And this is where Naruto would intervene, pulling out his sword and going to slice at Kakashi. Now Kakashi would pretty much move to the right, where Naruto would be in front of the fireball, but Naruto would pretty much just flash step away, and Kakashi would be surprised at Naruto's speed. Now Naruto would just put all his Ryatsu into this blade before releasing it into like a 1080 720 pound, similar to what Zoro does. Now, a big wave would pretty much be sent towards Kakashi, and Kakashi would try to do a Earth-style mud wall with a water-style water dragon jutsu, like the water-style water wall, and then a water-style water dragon jutsu, and then the mud-style mud wall. Now, this would pretty much do well against him. It would slightly block him, with Kakashi getting a few scratches and bruises on his body. Now Naruto would tell Sasuke, to basically, let's start fighting. Now Sasuke and Sakura and Naruto would start getting into a taijutsu battle with Kakashi, when Naruto trying to do the boogie woogie shit that Rogex always talks about in his what ifs, or Rogex tries to not do in his what ifs. Now Naruto would pretty much try to do that swordsman anime style cut, where he basically does a flash step behind the opponent and a cut appears on their chest. Now this would pretty much happen throughout the whole fight, but it would be minor cuts. But Sasuke and Sakura pretty much cover Naruto while Naruto's charging up the energy in his blade, and he'd pretty much be ready to charge up an attack. Now Naruto would pretty much put all the Ryatsu and all the strength into his hand to swing, and he'd pretty much finally get it down. He'd flash step behind Kakashi and slice the open of his chest, this being a direct hit. Now he's not going to kill Kakashi, but he's gonna severely injure him. Now after this attack happened, Naruto would pretty much, try to use a healing Kido and heal Kakashi's wounds. After this, they pretty much tie him up to the log, and Kakashi would wake up like 30 minutes later, looking at his wounds being, like nearly gone, and he'd be surprised, and he'd pretty much tell the team that they passed, and yeah, that would mark the end of the bell test. Now, after they all became like a team, they'd go celebrate, like Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto would go celebrate at the ramen stand. Now they all say goodbye to each other after they spent like the day, or in the evening kind of hanging out, and they'd head back to their respected homes. Now, after this, Naruto would go, jump in his bed and go to sleep. Now, we'll go to the next day where Naruto wakes up and they'd head towards the training ground. Now they'd start doing these sea rank missions of just catching the same cat over and over, but this would be good training for Naruto. He'd finally be able to upgrade his flash step, and so will Sasuke and Sakura start to get the foundations of the body flicker. Now, after they do a few C rank missions, we'll actually start the time skip of 1 month of them just doing not C rank, D rank missions, and just training at the same time. Now, Kakashi would train Sasuke in his mastery of the fire element and some taijutsu. Well, he would teach Sakura some earth and water mastery, like elemental mastery, and some chakra. She would pretty much learn what she learns in every part of my what ifs. The chakra enhanced fist. Now, basically, after the 1 month, oh god, my voice. But basically, after the 1 month of training, Naruto would complain to Kakashi, saying that their missions are pretty much too boring. Now, after this, Naruto would, hear Kakashi explain to them about the reasons of the rank mission, saying like it'll get their team to start to do teamwork. So then, when they do a C rank mission, they'll be, significantly, I had to find the word, so significantly more effective at it. And he, basically tells them that their teamwork is spot on, and they at least deserve a C rank mission. Now, after this, Naruto would, be a little excited on the inside, but he wouldn't really show it, and Team 7 would head back to the Hokage's tower after kidnapping the same cat. Now, Naruto would pick up the cat, walk over to Damayo's wife, and pretty much hand her a book about how to actually treat cats properly before, she would start to read it and basically start to treat her cat better. So all the ninjas in the village would pretty much praise Naruto for basically getting rid of that stupid D-rank mission. Now, Hiruzen would pretty much hear from Kakashi that, they at least deserve a C-rank mission. They've been doing D-rank missions the whole month, and they're actually pretty good at teamwork, since the Team 7 literally beat Kakashi, and, they severely injured him. Now, this show of strength really deserves at least a C-rank mission. Now, after this, Hiruzen would agree with this. After some few minutes of thinking, he would give them the C-rank mission of, helping the Land of the Waves, of escorting the bridge builder Tazuna to the Land of the Waves. Now, Tazuna would walk in and basically do what he does in Canada, of basically trying to underestimate Team 7. Now, this would blatantly just not worked. Yeah, I think that's the right wording. And basically, they would show that they're strong in general, and Tazuna would be pretty impressed, and Kakashi would tell them that in 1 hour, they should meet him. They will meet him at the village gates to go on their mission. Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto go start packing for their mission, with Naruto basically only packing his sword and a few copies of his clothes, just in case they get ripped or dirty. Now, after that, Naruto would head out of his house with locking the door and pretty much putting his frog wallet into his pocket. He still has the frog wallet. That wallet is just too drippy. Who doesn't want that wallet? But basically, back to the what if. Now, Naruto would head towards the village gates, and he'd wave towards Sasuke and Sakura, with Sasuke doing a nod, and Sakura would wave back. Since in this timeline, Naruto's not that annoying, so, he wouldn't really, be the class clown. He would just be like some guy who's chill, kind of like Shikamaru or Choji. Now Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would see Kakashi come into the clearing or come to the village gates, and they would head out for their mission. And now they would be, kind of doing their normal walk past the village, and around 1 hour later, after a few kilometers of walking, they would pretty much pass a puddle. Now, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi would sense that someone's in the puddle, but they would pretty much wait for them to attack. Now, the demon brothers would pretty much come attacking, and Naruto would go to slice the chain. Now, Naruto would feel something weird about the chain, since usually he'd be able to slice stuff like this and have... God, damn it. He'd usually be able to slice stuff like this in half, but for some reason he couldn't even, he could barely cut it. Now, well, with the luck of Naruto and the luck of plot armor, when he cut the chain and the Demon Brothers' momentums were at a high when they were going to try to kill Kakashi, the chain would basically wrap around them, tying them up, and basically knocking them out at the same time. I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but he would basically cut the middle of the chains, just would bring them back, wrap the whole chain around them, and basically knock them out. Now, I know that's a very weird, bizarre act, but hey, just go watch JoJo Bizarre Adventures and you'll see what I'm talking about. Nah, just kidding. No, don't. I didn't watch it myself, so don't do that. I mean, if you want to watch it, you can watch it, but just never mind. After the Demon Brothers were knocked out, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would be pretty confused by this, this bizarre thing that Naruto did, but they would pretty much just dismiss it, and Kakashi would use the Sharingan on the Demon Brothers, getting all the information he can about this, them going after Tazuna. Now, Kakashi would pretty much start to ask Tazuna some questions about the true ranking of this mission, and he would spill, basically saying that the ranking of this mission should have been a rank mission, and that he has Gato's Industries coming after them. They'd pretty much go over the whole conversation, basically saying that Gato has colonized the land of the waves. Now, basically, Team 7 would agree to do the mission, and they would head towards the land of the waves. When they'd be at the land of the waves, the mist would really start to pick up. It'd be like thick fog or mist. Now, after this, Sasuke out of nowhere would throw a kunai towards a tree, and they'd see it was a bunny, a white bunny, in the summer. After this, Kakashi would tell everyone to duck out of nowhere, and Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would duck, and Naruto would pretty much try to clash with the blade that comes flying through the clearing. Now, Naruto, for some reason, the sword was weak, and, maybe because of Naruto's emotions, Naruto was feeling scared at the moment, but, the sword would pretty much cut right through Naruto's blade. Now, Naruto would be shocked at this revelation, and the blade would pretty much cut a little bit of his arm, and before it would pretty much lodge itself into the tree. Now, Zabuza would stand on top of the his sword that's launched into the tree, and pretty much do his introduction before starting the fight with Kakashi. Now, Kakashi and Zabuza would have their fight, and they'd have their usual fight similar to canon before Kakashi would slip and fall into their water prison jutsu due to him being a little rusty, and Sasuke and Naruto would pretty much have to rescue him, with Naruto having to put him have to form into a shuriken, and Sasuke would throw him before Naruto would pretty much throw his broken blade, or try to throw his blade towards Zabuza, and Zabuza would have to dodge. Now Sasuke would pick up his blade and throw it towards Naruto, and Naruto would pick it up. After this, Kakashi would pretty much have a fight with Zabuza, go similar to canon, before Zabuza would get pressed, and he would get out of nowhere would get hit by two senbons to the neck. Now, after this, the Hunter Ninja would explain to explain to Team 7 that he or she is a Hunter Ninja from the Hidden Mist, trying to kill Zabuza before because he has vital information about the village, so they need to protect that. Now, afterwards, he would pick up Zabuza, and that masked man would dip. Now, Kakashi would pass out due to chakra exhaustion or Sharingan overuse. And that would be the end of part 2 of What If Naruto was Shinji Hirako's reincarnation. Now, I know I didn't record for a while, but hey, this is my redemption here. I'm still technically in the daily upload since my recent video still says it's 1 day from now. So lucky me. But without further ado, guys, peace out.